You are now tuned into the sounds of
Big Nate Sports Talk.
It's on all the time, anytime.
Tuned in to Big Nate Sports Talk, the show that is on all the time, anytime. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host, Nathan Snell.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony Handy, for that wonderful introduction. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host, Nathan Snell of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. This is episode 404, and we're talking about the Washington Commanders, as you've seen the title of the video. Before we get into that, there's a few things I need to say up front. I just finished recording 403 of the Baltimore Ravens being the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Later sometime this evening, if not tomorrow, recapping Maryland football against the win over USC this past weekend homecoming game, as they also get ready for Minnesota this week. Viewer discretion is advised. No, I'm just kidding. The final score was 47.
Game over, yeah!
I'm gonna be real, keep it honest with you guys. I really didn't know how to really look at this game without really getting frustrated when looking back at the tape. And that's more about the opponent. But let me stay on Washington for a second. Jayden Daniels suffered a rib injury. From what I've heard, they still haven't really fully diagnosed how they extended the injury. I'm pretty sure he'll be possibly ready to go this weekend against Chicago. I know they said they were going to do some more testing as of Monday. But there's a couple things I want to say about that. My first thing is I kind of want everybody to kind of calm down for a second. If you looked at the play, there are two things that you question, and this is something he has to learn as he gets better. Number one, learning how to slide. Number two, go out of bounds. If he went out of bounds, we're not having this discussion. This is the same argument we're making RG3. The whole play against Baltimore. Even though I don't think that wasn't a good slide. I've even seen him same thing. I forgot what game it was. He got cracked. Should have just gone out of bounds. I can't remember. This was after the injury. This was like the next year, if I remember correctly. But he was out there in the second half. I mean, he tried to play through it. I don't know why. But I mean, he was back out there in street clothes in the second half. But I get it. You want to be cautious with him because he is your investment. He's the guy you're building around for years to come. But it's almost like mass hysteria. Like, Anywho, because the more I say, I'm gonna say something I think that's going to bother some people, but that's okay. I'm gonna go on the next point. The Panthers were trash. Our defense, I think, as you've seen as the season's progressed, they've improved. Outside of Baltimore and Tampa, um, you know, the Panthers practically had no success on offense. They were just held to one third down conversion and 110 yards in the first half.
Mm-hmm. I can't defend that. What do you want me to say to that?
And the second half wasn't that much better. They ended the day with 180 yards total on 43 plays.
He didn't even try.
These are legitimate questions.
You stink. Let me just get that out the way. You stink.
What was that? What the hell was that?
Mm-hmm. I can't defend that. What do you want me to say to that?
Defensively, there were some tackles made in open field. Like I said, you've seen improvements. I mean, you had Frankie. He had a sack on the season, a sack to add on for the season. I mean, was it Mike Schrenzel? I think he led the team with 7 tackles. I mean, outside of Chuba Hubbard, what you want me to say? I mean, Andy Dalton, God bless him, and I hope he gets well. He was involved in an accident, but he was not needed to take. He did not need an ambulance or anything like that to be taken to the hospital. I want to take a moment to just send my thoughts and prayers to him and his family. But I mean, he was held to less than 100 yards passing. That's the 9th time in his NFL career he's done that. And this was Chuba Hubbard. I think it was second worst. I think he only had 52 yards in rushing. You can't defend that. Then the legend himself, Marcus Mariota, came in and did, and I'll be honest, shock me. I think that's probably with Jayden, but with Marcus, I think the offense looked pretty good. I mean, the offense really continued to just roll with success when we got out there. The first drive was a little, but there was a 3-and-out, and then as it got better, he missed a couple of throws, but he completed 78 of his passes. He led a 92-yard drive right after the first half, and that was a 12-yard touchdown to Zach Ertz, which was 27-0. So, Brian Robinson was back out there. He was 12 carries on 71 yards. Now he played a big role in us keeping the chains moving. There's a 6th touchdown of the season. That's a career high for him so far. But I mean, 421 yards, converting 50% of your third downs. That's the first time since 2020 where we've put up 40 points.
I'm not going to even sit here and act like I didn't know this was coming, or act like I know this was coming, because I did it. What? What? And you got to be kidding me.
Yeah. So, that's pretty much what I saw with Washington. Dante Fowler, I think was a big piece. I like the acquisition of him. I'll give you an example. He's going to get a game ball for me. It was 3rd and 9, if I remember correctly, and Andy Dalton completed the first 2 of his 3 passes, and it was a dump off to Miles Sanders, and it went right to him, which he ran it back for 67 yards for a touchdown. This first interception. So, because they also too with Dorrance Armstrong, he was out, if I remember correctly. Yes, he was out. They looked pretty good. He's actually in the team in sacks, 4.5 sacks. But yeah, so they looked sensational. I mean, there really wasn't much I can say. Everyone's saying that, I think Caleb will be fine. Let's just see. We got, as I'm recording this, we got Wednesday, we got Thursday, and we got Friday. Because by Friday, that's when they put the injury report out to know who's officially not playing. So we've got a couple more days till we really figure that out. And then also, too, you look at it like I really couldn't judge this game. I'm saying that because like it was the Panthers. Like they're awful. They're 1-6. I mean, okay, they missed 6 of their 7 defensive starters. I mean, it wasn't gonna be a close game. I mean, that screen pass let me know everything I need to know about this team. I mean, he threw 2 interceptions. And then the second one was when Deontay Johnson, if I remember correctly, he stopped his route short. That's embarrassing. And then on top of that, too, it pissed me off that they put Bryce Young out there when the game was essentially over. What do you want the kid to do? I mean, you've already benched him, and then like, I just don't see what Dave Canales is trying to prove. But I can't see Bryce there next year. Bryce has to be on a team where I think he can truly thrive, and I think they actually have some talent around him because the Panthers suck. I'm sorry. I mean, if you look, they have been outscored by 92 points the first half of the season. They were shut out 27-0 on Sunday. That's the worst in their team history. I mean, in the first 8 games since 2021, I think the Jets were the worst in that year. What do you want me to say? Personally, if I'm being honest, I mean, well, Andy probably will not be out there this upcoming weekend, but he should probably as of recording this, by Friday, this day's Thursday, my apologies, he probably should be playing. He probably won't play, but I expect Bryce Young to be out there. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know how you can go into week, because their bye week's not to week 11. So, but to have Andy Dalton out there for this long, it just really lets me know. I mean, this is just disgusting. That was awful to watch. That was a one-sided football game. I'm being honest. I turned it off when I saw they put Bryce in the game. I turned it off. There was no point in watching the game at that point. I mean, I get it. The great Dan Morgan, former linebacker for the Panthers, he's going to have to rebuild that defense, overall depth. Roster stinks up and down. I mean, you've got the most points, and you're giving your offense little to no room for of mistakes. I mean, next year, with the salary cap going up, I mean, you've got some decent pieces. You got Derek Brown's a Pro Bowler, J.C. Horn, Robert Hunt, Damian Lewis, Deontay Johnson, but my God, that just was disgusting. Javonte Sanders, who I had a chance to get in the fantasy draft and bobbled that, didn't happen. He's looking pretty good. Jonathan Brooks, I know he's still winning it out there. Because Miles Sanders, shows flashes, but you see how that looks. But outside of that, I mean, damn, I'm sorry, I couldn't. No. Producers, please bail me out. Thank you.
Thoughts are running through my mind.
Someone took some time to find a minute or two to organize.
All right, the one final thought is we're getting ready for the Chicago Bears. The number 1 overall pick, Caleb Williams versus Jayden Daniels. If he's ready to play, that should be an interesting game. It's going to be an interesting game. I expect it to be high scoring. I'm picking the Bears to win. I said I'm going to give it 34-28, something like that. I know, shout out to Will Kramer and Sean Spencer. I know they talked about it on Watch Football Weekly last night. I think it's going to be one of those games. I think they have a good shot. I mean, even with Marcus right now, if Jayden's not ready to go, I'm confident in Marcus can still lead that offense. The Bears, not the Panthers, but especially to beat Chicago, finishing, creating turnovers, and keeping Chicago off the offense off the field as much as possible. Chicago, I think, offensively starting to pick it up. Especially after they had a long conversation with offense coordinator. So last 4 weeks, you've seen the Bears improve on the offensive side of the ball. They just turned it over once. And they haven't turned the ball over in the last 2 wins. So rank ahead on that stat. But again, I'll see who's watched has a chance to go 6-2 after week 8, and I'm pretty impressive with that. Outside of that's my one final thought. Great win for us. Again, I just what do you want me to say? We played the worst team in we played one of the worst teams in the NFL, and you still play. You play to your you don't play down to an opponent, especially like that. And that same thing for the Baltimore Ravens as they get ready to play Cleveland this weekend. With Deshaun, Jameis Winston out there, you still have respect for your opponents, but that was embarrassing. I'm sorry. I know I'm beating a dead horse with that, but you fired Dave Counts. What's that doing? So I mean, and we don't know what the stats with Andy Dalton's going to be. So we'll wait and see what that happens. And they think they face Denver. So that's going to conclude, because the more I talk, the more I'm going to say something I'm going to regret. So that's going to conclude this episode. Tomorrow is Friday as I'm recording this video. All the episodes will go up sometime later today. The Maryland Terrapins football, if I don't get it tonight, that'll be up time. I'll have that done sometime by Friday before Saturday's game against Minnesota. WNBA mock draft 1.0 for the 2025 draft. That's going to be a project this weekend. Stay tuned in for that. But until then, as Sean Spencer, Will Kramer says, left hand up, baby. Good win for the Commanders. Enjoy the rest of your week. Please like, comment, and subscribe for our future content. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace. Stay up.
What's that? Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game. Another game.
This is what's great about sports. This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just...
Well, what happened was that second game, we got our ass kicked. Or the second half, we just got our ass totally kicked. We couldn't do diddly poo offensively. We couldn't make a first down. We couldn't run the ball. We didn't try to run the ball. We couldn't complete a pass. We sucked.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
This is how I believe, okay? I'm from the old school. I believe this. I would rather play with 10 people and just get penalized all the way until we got to do something else, rather than play with 11 when I know that right now that person is not sold out to be a part of this team. It is more about them than it is about the team. I cannot play with them, cannot win with them, cannot coach with them, can't do it. I want winners. I want people that want to win.
They are trash. Horrible.